All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking something so relatable, navigating those really delicate moments when a dear friend desperately needs your support. We've all been there, right? Someone you care deeply about is standing on the precipice of a massive life change. They're terrified and they are looking right at you for reassurance. So we're going to build what I like to call an empathy toolkit. We'll break down the subtle tricks for using 3 distinct English expressions so you know exactly how to adapt your phrasing depending on the situation. And you can be that steady anchor your friend needs.
I mean, have you ever found yourself completely struggling to find the right words? Think about a friend moving out of the country, getting married, or maybe taking a wild leap into a new career path. Honestly, it's so easy to just freeze up. You want to be supportive, obviously, but you're probably terrified of saying the wrong thing, right? You definitely don't want to accidentally express doubt and make them even more nervous. Choosing the perfect words in these high-stakes conversations, it's honestly a real skill.
So, here's our roadmap for building this empathy toolkit today. First, we'll talk about encouraging a dear friend. Then, we'll dive into phrase 1, whatever happens. Next up, phrase 2, no matter what happens. Then we hit phrase 3, come what may. And finally, we'll wrap up with some practice on having a conversation that truly connects.
Okay, kicking things off with part 1, encouraging a dear friend and building a connection moment. We're starting right here because, well, when someone expresses doubt about a major life decision, that's a moment of critical vulnerability. Choosing the right words here transforms a totally standard chat into an unforgettable connection moment. Say the wrong thing and yikes, you risk hurting that bond. But get it right, you provide this incredibly solid foundation of stability that they'll lean on as they take that leap of faith.
Moving right along to part 2, phrase 1, whatever happens, which is all about casual reassurance. The crucial point here is that we're starting with the most common, most casual phrase in our entire toolkit. When your friend is totally spiraling with the what-ifs, your very first line of defense is this phrase, whatever happens. It's conversational, it's gentle, and honestly, it works like a charm.
The psychology behind this one is actually super fascinating. It basically acknowledges that, hey, we can't control the future. It tacks into that famous old concept of "Quest sera sera," whatever will be, will be. By saying this, you're actually giving your friend a really safe, totally guilt-free out. You're validating that, sure, things might go south, but you're reassuring them that it absolutely doesn't change how you view them.
Let's put this into practice, shall we? Imagine your friend looks at you and goes, what if this new job completely falls apart? You'd reply, whatever happens, you're brave for giving it a chance. See what that does? You're telling them that even in the absolute worst-case scenario, like even if they hate the new city and immediately move back home, you are still incredibly proud of their bravery for just trying. You're rewarding the attempt itself, not the outcome.
All right, stepping it up a notch with part 3, phrase 2, no matter what happens. This one is all about signaling strong commitment. You're going to want to escalate the emotional intensity with this expression when that casual reassurance just isn't cutting it anymore. This is when you need to lay down a rock-solid foundation of pure loyalty. Just think about the stark contrast between these two. The exact nuance gap is huge. While whatever happens is like a light, floating cloud that gives them a casual, comforting out, no matter what happens is more like a heavy iron shield. It's a forceful, definite commitment. It's rigid. It's honestly the kind of language you use when you're deeply in the trenches together, almost like a survival situation, where you're effectively saying, I am not giving up on this, and I am absolutely not giving up on you. You deploy this specific phrase when a friend is actively freaking out about the collateral damage of their life change. If they're moving far away and they say, I'm terrified, I'm going to lose touch with everyone, you look them right in the eye and say, no matter what happens, we'll stay friends. You are practically guaranteeing them that your relationship is entirely immune to the distance and whatever crazy changes lie ahead.
And that brings us to part 4, phrase 3, come what may. This one brings a real touch of dramatic flair. It is the final piece of our toolkit, and guys, this is your heavy hitter. It's definitely not for everyday use, but when you drop it at the exact right moment, boom, massive impact.
This phrase is highly formal, wonderfully poetic, and undeniably dramatic. That's exactly why it's used way less frequently. Honestly, it carries the emotional weight of a line straight out of a Broadway play or a classic poem. You do not use this when someone is just trying a new restaurant, okay? You use this when someone is fundamentally altering the course of their entire life.
Picture this. It's the night before a huge, tearful goodbye. You've already used your casual reassurances, you've established your strong commitment, and finally, they look at you and ask, do you promise? You reply, absolutely. You're stuck with me. Come what may. Adding that beautiful, poetic flair at the very tail end of your conversation anchors an incredibly deep emotional bond. It completely signals the end of the anxiety and the start of absolute, unwavering solidarity.
Which leads us to part 5, practice, a conversation that actually connects, and looking at some real-life applications. Okay, let's dive into how these phrases function in real, high-stakes human experiences. Because let's be real, just knowing the phrases is only half the battle, right? Knowing how to properly sequence them, depending on the situation when your friend is actively panicking, that's where you find the true mastery of this empathy toolkit.
Think of this breakdown as your ultimate cheat sheet. It maps out the exact emotional weight and the frequency of each phrase. And that is so important to ensure you don't accidentally sound super dramatic in a casual moment, or too casual in a deeply sensitive moment. A truly masterful conversation usually scales up, starting with that casual validation, moving deeper into strong commitment, and ending with that poetic, dramatic loyalty.
Consider a true story from our sources. Imagine a young woman having dinner with her parents in New York. She literally has a flight the very next morning to move to Japan for 2 years. Suddenly, the reality of it hits her, and a full-blown crisis of confidence kicks in. What am I thinking? What did I even do? In that terrifying moment of emotional freefall, she desperately needed a stable person to step in and counter that panic with a solid, whatever happens, you're so brave for trying.
Or think about another scenario we looked at, getting married after a really short engagement. They hadn't lived together, they hadn't known each other all that long, and the night before the wedding, the sheer scale of the commitment felt utterly overwhelming. That is exactly when a mother stepped in with this phrase. No matter what happens, you're gonna be fine. It's all going to work out. She provided that unwavering, bulletproof stability right when her child needed it most.
So the absolutely crucial point to take away here is this. Taking big chances is what ultimately enriches our lives. Imagine if we backed out of every single leap just because we were scared. But taking those leaps, it requires support. And the words of encouragement we get from the important people in our lives during those terrifying transitions aren't just helpful in the moment. They are remembered and cherished for literally decades. You have the power to create that lasting memory.
With this brand new empathy toolkit right at your fingertips, I really want you to think about your own circle. Who in your life is navigating a scary transition right now? A new job, a massive move, a crazy new relationship? How can you step up, choose the exact right phrase for the situation, and be their steady anchor? The right words at the absolute right time can change everything. So, what will you say when they need you most?
Got it! What's up? Catch up! Aha!